What's the biggest secret you've been hiding from your partner? I have an eating disorder that I've been fighting alone for about 5 years. He thinks I'm just naturally really skinny. Actually, this is the first time I've admitted this publicly. It feels kind of good. I've always known he takes Viagra. I think he'd say his biggest secret is that he takes Viagra. Probably how many snacks I really sneak at midnight. I've always been someone who utterly despised dancing. I would refuse any invitation to join in on the dance floor, finding the whole idea of it uncomfortable and awkward. But then I met her, and everything changed. Knowing that bachata is her favorite dance, I decided to step out of my comfort zone and learn the basic steps. It was challenging at first, but seeing the joy in her eyes when we danced together makes it all worth it. Now, I can't believe I used to be that person who hated dancing so much. Not sure how long I'll keep it as a secret. I'm just waiting for the right moment to reveal this surprise. I have a box of little crochet critters in the garage that I make when I'm bored in between clients. I let my fiancé know that if anyone at work would like one, she's a hospice nurse, she can just take them from the box, no questions asked. That's what I told her anyway. The secret is that I purposefully make stuff for her to take. I even have a little spreadsheet so I know what animals' colours are the most popular and make sure that there's always spares. Obviously, I don't know who they go to because of confidentiality, but I try to get as big a range as I can. When he proposes to me, I have an engagement watch for him. My dad gave it to me a few months into dating him and said that I could do what I want with it. It's been 5 years and all I need is a nice box and ribbon. Edit. Thanks for the activity. Super overwhelmed by the responses. The watch is a Breitling Aerospace. My dad and his dad collected watches, so we would often inherit ones. They collected them when luxury brands were more affordable. The timing wasn't due to me starting to date my boyfriend, just that my dad flew over to get a few older ones serviced as we grew up overseas. He just wanted to bring a gift. I'm a competitive gamer and I always manage to beat my wife in every video game we play. But when it comes to Puyo Puyo Tetris, things are different. I intentionally let her win because it's the one game she truly enjoys, and it's worth losing just to see her smile and have fun together. It's become our special way to connect, and honestly, that shared joy makes the game more enjoyable for me too. It's not really a secret anymore, since I couldn't help but laugh the last time I caught him doing it. When he used to make me Impossible burgers, he would carefully check the temperature with a meat thermometer, just to be sure they were safe to eat. Just like a real burger. I found it so endearing that I never had the heart to tell him that I could probably eat them raw, without a problem. Those burgers were tough as bricks, but the effort he put into making them perfect for me melted my heart every time. Even though I had to chew through them like a champ, his sweetness made every bite worth it. I love that man and his dedication to keeping me safe, even when it's a bit over the top. We've been together for 5 years, met at a football game. Our biggest thing in common is our love for our team. Every Sunday for years, we get together to watch the games with her family. I'm not really into football. I was at the game we met at because someone bought tickets and I was off so sure. I've never really understood it, so for years, anytime the family cheers, I just follow with cheers, and when they boo, I do the same. I don't think his youngest son is his. The story about how this child came to be is very shady, between having his vasectomy reversal and how low he said his count is. Combined with the fact that he caught the boy's mom cheating during the time they were trying, and how fast she came back with the paternity results, it all feels very wrong. 13 years later, when we are talking about his youngest, he always brings up how similar they look. I just agree. This kid looks nothing like him or his other 2 kids. My BF is 5'7", blue eyes, black hair with a lean build. The youngest is already over 6 feet tall, brown eyes, brown hair and kinda chubby. His mum is very slim, blue eyes and blonde hair. He wanted to get them all 23andMe for Christmas. I talked him out of it. I think it would ruin Christmas for him if it came out. I want to marry him sooner than I ever expected. But as an immigrant, I worry that bringing it up might make him or his family think I'm only doing it to get permanent residence quickly. So, instead, I've been working extra hard to qualify for it on my own. I love him deeply and want our marriage to be about us, not about immigration. She farts in her sleep, loud. I'm afraid to admit it, but I don't really like his family. They intimidate me, and I'm kind of scared of them. I feel out of place whenever we're together, and it's something I struggle with constantly. I know it's important to him that we all get along, so I'm trying to find ways to feel more comfortable around them. But it's tough. I just hope that over time things will get better, and I'll learn to feel more at ease. TLDR. Lied and replaced a card in a magic booster, so my girlfriend could finally find an expensive chase rare. We both recently got into Magic the Gathering. For me, it was a return after 25 years of not playing, and she was new. We both were looking for a hobby to enjoy together to help us get our minds off of the devastating 2 years we'd just fought through. It was 2 years of cancer diagnosis, heartbreaking surgeries, Chuck doctor visits, losing her 2 dogs. They were her children, all while trying to finish the last year of her PhD, in cancer research of all things. Anyhow, the cataloguing, sorting, playing, trading and collecting seemed to put her in a quiet place where she could turn her thoughts to something else and just heal. She even played in her first tournament at Gen Con. She jumped in with both feet, and opening booster packs and finding cards with value seemed to light her up in a way I hadn't seen since we started down our war on cancer. The problem is, she never seemed to have the luck I did with finding chase rares. And with the latest set being totally her jam, small cute animals, she wants them all. So, I ordered a bundle of collector boosters and the very expensive raised foil rabbit card she was looking for, cut open a booster, slid it in, and resealed it well enough so she wouldn't notice. Seeing her open that pack, hearing her voice shake in concert with her hands, and watching that fleeting panic that she damaged the card transition to pure joy was incredible. I feel a twinge guilty about it, but I'll take the secret with me to my grave. She thinks she got super lucky with finding an incredibly rare card. It's a small thing, but it meant the world to her. Years have passed, but the pain from her affair still lingers. I've chosen to stay for reasons that make sense to me, yet the hurt remains as fresh as ever. It's something I carry with me every day, a wound that time hasn't healed. I've tried to move forward, but there's always that shadow hanging over our relationship, reminding me of what happened. I just wish I could let it go, but it's not that simple. That I have a large secret candy stash I hide far away from him in my closet, hoarding it like a little candy dragon. I love him. I have some chocolates accessible in the freezer if he wants some. I share certain varieties I buy in small doses. But I keep all my good shit locked away because he will absolutely inhale all of it in a week. If I tell him to replace it, he will, but sometimes it takes him a while and I don't want to wait 3+ days for a refill of my damn candy. Some of the stuff he's eaten is hard to find, like certain sugar-free gummies I've had to buy across 3 to 4 different places, or international treats only sold at one market in the area. And so he won't replace it, just reimburse me, but it's still annoying that I have to go out and find it again. He's thin and fit, so feels no guilt or anything about swallowing half a bag of candy in one sitting. But I'm losing weight and cherish the sweets I have infrequently. It maddens him for whatever reason that it can take me 5 months to finish a bag of Dove chocolate, lol. I even have some Easter candy left in my stash. Of all the flaws for someone to have, it's not so bad. He at least tries to replace or reimburse, but it's easier that I just keep my sweets to myself and share small portions. I secretly turned a hallway closet into a shoe closet because she's always wanted one. It's been a project I've kept under wraps, and I can't wait for her to see it when she comes home in a couple of days. I really hope she loves it as much as I loved making it for her. It's a small gesture, but I know it'll mean the world to her, and I'm excited to see her reaction. I'm proposing today, and I've been planning for most of this year. I'm terrible at secrets and have almost spilled the beans a few times. Edit, He said yes. Once a month, I disappear for a mysterious workshop that he's not allowed to ask about. What he doesn't know is that I've been learning blacksmithing, and I'm currently crafting a sword to propose to him with. It's something I've kept secret because I want it to be a huge surprise. I've put so much time and effort into making it perfect, and I can't wait to see the look on his face when I finally present it to him. It's a unique way to propose, but it feels just right for us. On occasion, I send Instacart groceries to local people asking for food. I know what it is to be hungry, my husband never has. I do not think he would understand. Not that he is against helping, but might get upset with me sending groceries and spending $80, $100 just for basics for someone to get by till their next paycheck. I secretly can't stand the way he chews, but I pretend it doesn't bother me. Every bite drives me crazy, but I keep it to myself because I don't want to hurt his feelings. It's such a small thing, yet it gets under my skin more than I'd like to admit. The cancer is probably going to kill me. If I'm stuck on a game, she will casually suggest things I could try without right telling me the answer. She will go very quiet, go on her phone and then say, I wonder, does this game have any buffs to your lightning damage? Or, ooh, a dragon! He looks like he wouldn't like ice damage very much. I know she is goggling things, but I pretend like I don't because she gets so excited when her hints work and she thinks she helped me work it out organically. When she watches those cheesy Hallmark movies that I claim to hate, I sometimes pretend to be completely absorbed in my game or whatever task I'm doing. But the truth is, I often get caught up in the plot of those stupid movies. I'd never admit it to her, but there's something oddly captivating about them, even though I still find them predictable and boring. It's like a guilty pleasure I can't quite shake, and I can't help but get invested, even if I roll my eyes the entire time. That I am not okay in this divorce, I miss her terribly. Our 10th anniversary is just around the corner in January, and it's hard to believe it's been a decade since we got engaged. The ring I gave her back then was the best I could afford, and while it looks nice, it's a constant reminder of how far we've come since those early days. I'm grateful for every moment we've shared, and I'm looking forward to celebrating this milestone together. We're not wealthy, both educators, but we've moved up enough on our district's salary schedules and cleared out some bigger debts, so my 10th anniversary gift is a new ring that's about 5 times what the original cost. And looks it. 5 months until I can show her. We're having a boy! Even after 25 years, I still have nightmares about my abusive ex-boyfriend. The memories linger, haunting me in ways I can't control, no matter how much time has passed. It's something I carry with me, a shadow from the past that occasionally resurfaces, reminding me of a time I'd rather forget. I told her my body count when she asked randomly, years ago before it became trendy, and I had been in the military for a while, so I thought she meant real body count, as in kills while I was in. I told her 22 confirmed, and she giggled and repeated confirmed that made me mentally giggle like, sure. Okay. I didn't ask hers back because I wouldn't have assumed that a waitress had killed anyone. Years later, when I learned the other, more cultural definition, I couldn't tell her. When we first started dating, I told him I wasn't ticklish, and I managed to hold it together the first time he tried, acting completely unbothered. He laughed and said it was no fun, and now, 11 years later, he still believes I'm not ticklish. It's the best secret I've ever kept, and I can't help but chuckle every time I think about it. I've mastered the art of staying still, and it's become a little inside joke with myself. It's funny how a small white lie has lasted this long, but it's made for a great story over the years. The number of times those intrusive thoughts cross my mind is more than I'd like to admit. But my wife, she's the anchor that keeps me grounded. Whenever I'm overwhelmed, I think about how tragic it would be if I ever acted on those thoughts, and that's what pulls me back. It's not just her, though. I do this for everything in my life. If it's not her, it's my dog, my parents, my family, or anyone else I love. Each of them gives me a reason to keep going, even when it's tough. They're my safety net, and I hold on to them tightly, knowing that without them, I might not be able to stay afloat. It's a constant battle, but their presence in my life makes it worth fighting. That I was hesitant about marrying him because the idea of losing him someday is so incredibly painful and heart-shattering to me. When my grandma died, my grandpa was and still is a shell of who he was. He was absolutely devastated at her death. He's not the same person he used to be. They were together for over 50 years. That kind of grief and pain scares the shit out of me. It is very selfish of me to say, but I hope I pass first, because the idea of living without him is incomprehensible to me. At the end of the day, though, I think having loved deeply and lost is preferable to not loving at all. I've been preparing for his birthday for a long time now. My insecurity is so overwhelming that it feels like I'm screaming from the inside. I hide so much pain about it all the time, constantly battling the belief that I'm not good enough for anyone. It's this deep-seated fear that makes me question who could truly love me, knowing all my flaws. I've dated guys who didn't even like me but kept seeing me, and it's left me wondering if anyone really does like me. Outwardly, I do strange things like avoiding eye contact when we pass an attractive woman because I'm so convinced I don't measure up. No amount of reassurance can change how I feel. It's all internal, a struggle I can't escape. I'm a people pleaser to the extreme. So much so that if I have a falling out with someone, I'll obsess over it, convinced it's because I'm not likable. It's a constant war in my head. And while he knows I'm insecure, he only sees a small part of the storm that's raging inside me. I feel trapped in this endless cycle of doubt, always questioning my worth, and it's exhausting. I am very much kinkier than what he can even think. That I know my husband eats meat despite his insistence that he's vegetarian like me, I don't care, but it's cute that he doesn't think I know. I've been veggie for over 20 years, but one of his former co-workers told me he saw him eating pepperoni pizza. And ever since then, I've noticed small meat escapades, and it's so adorable that I can't even call him on it because it doesn't matter to me. But I know he would be embarrassed. LOL. One of the biggest secrets I kept from my partner was about a time in my life before we met, when I was really struggling financially. A few years ago, I found myself drowning in debt, just trying to stay afloat. By the time we met, I was barely starting to get back on my feet, and I was too ashamed to share just how bad things had been. I always thought I'd tell them when the time was right, but as our relationship deepened, so did my fear of how they'd react. It wasn't just about the money. I was terrified they'd see me differently as someone who didn't have it all together. I knew that honesty is crucial in a relationship, but I kept putting off the conversation, telling myself I'd wait until I had more control over the situation. The weight of that secret became heavier with each passing day. Every time we talked about the future or made plans together, guilt would gnaw at me, knowing I wasn't being entirely truthful. There were moments when I nearly confessed, especially during discussions about major financial decisions, but I always pulled back, afraid of what might happen. It was a constant burden, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it would eventually come between us. Eventually, I realized that this secret was eating away at me, and it wasn't fair to either of us. The day I finally confessed, I was expecting anger or disappointment, but instead, my partner just listened. They were more understanding than I could have imagined, and together, we worked out a plan to handle things. It was a huge relief, but I'll never forget how difficult it was to carry that secret and how much easier it would have been if I had just been honest from the start. It taught me that in a strong relationship, it's better to face the tough conversations early on rather than letting them grow into something bigger and more daunting. I resent him for never having done big romantic gestures, maybe even medium ones. It feels like he doesn't think I'm worth the effort. It feels like I'm always compromising for whatever he wants, and it never comes back around. I sing Shania Twain and Celine Dion songs while she's asleep. With my whole chest lol, we are metal air dem bass heads. How much money I've lost in crypto? Edit. I thought it said parent. I don't have a partner. Secrets can weigh heavily on our hearts, especially when they involve the people we love the most. But every relationship is built on trust and understanding. Sharing these hidden parts of ourselves may be scary, but it's also a chance to grow closer and stronger together. Remember, it's never too late to open up and be honest with those who matter to us. Sometimes the hardest conversations lead to the deepest connections. So if you're holding on to something, maybe it's time to let it out and find the relief that comes with being true to yourself and your partner.